Happy National Day for all the Cameroonians. Today is May 20th. And let us see the book that our Lord gave us this morning to read. I got this book also in 2007. And the book that God chose is the Devotional Study Bible. So I got it. And the page that he sent me is Haggai introduction. The prophet who got results. For once, God's people listened. And excuse me for the pronunciation. I'm living for so long within French speakers. But let us read. The whole remnant of the people obeyed the voice of the Lord their God and the message of the prophet Haggai, because the Lord their God had sent him. You will read it in Haggai chapter 1, verse 12. Sometimes, at crucial moments, a single voice can steer a directionless mass of people to action. Winston Churchill's inspiring oratory may have saved Britain in World War II. True leaders of nations are those who inspire their people to constructive actions. Haggai's words similarly rang clear in a time of confusion, but they seemed to have forgotten the point of returning. The Jews had come back from their exile in Babylon nearly 20 years before. But they seemed to have forgotten the point of returning after one false start on the temple. The exiles had devoted their energy to building their own houses. The ruins of Solomon's temple stood as a nagging reminder that they had neglected God. Now, Haggai urged these pioneers to give careful thought to their situation. He did not rage like Jeremiah or build eloquent poems like Isaiah. He put it simply and logically. They had worked hard, but what had it earned them? Their crops were unsuccessful. Their money disappeared as soon as they earned it. Why? Haggai asked. Because they had mistaken their priorities. They needed to put God first. They needed to rebuild his temple. Subtitle: A response from the heart. People responded to Haggai immediately. Prophets before him, such as Amos, Isaiah, or Jeremiah, had spoken for decades without seeing such a heartfelt reaction. Haggai's messages spanned a mere 4 months, but he accomplished everything he set out to do. In 4 years, the temple was complete. What made the temple so important? After all, the proper sacrifices and rituals could be carried out on a makeshift altar. But God's reputation was at stake. He could not be properly honored so long as the house he called home lay in ruins. The temple symbolized God's presence and Israel's priorities. Will rebuilding the temple change people's financial situation? Haggai's first words promised nothing. He simply said, "Give care to your ways," and pointed out that people's lack of prosperity was God's doing. They had worked hard, but God had withheld the rain their crops needed. A month later, Haggai chapter 2 verse 1 to 9, Haggai said that God had glorious plans for his people, plans that would shake the whole earth. I repeat, Haggai said that God had glorious plans for his people, plans that would shake the whole earth. But he referred to God's presence with them, not to good crops. Only on the last day accounted for in this brief book did Haggai get back to the subject of harvest. He said that God wanted his people to give careful thought. Again, this time to the dramatic difference they would see in their harvest, since they had put God first. From this day on, I will bless you, God said through Haggai. This is the book Haggai Introduction. And how to read Haggai. One of the shortest books in the Bible. Haggai can be easily read at a sitting. Haggai's words came at a critical time in the life of the nation, of the people of God. They mark one of the few times in all history when God spoke and his people quickly and unquestioningly obeyed. For the historical background, read Isaiah 1 to 6. Haggai's crucial message is mentioned in Ezra, another book, chapter 5, verse 1 to 2. A line up of rulers, page 338, can help you place Haggai in God people history. There is a progression to God's warnings and his promises through Haggai. Study each of Haggai's messages and note down what encouragement, what warnings, and what hope God offered his people. How did God motivate them to obey him? So there is plans for reading Haggai. Plan 1. An overview of Haggai in one day. Day 1. Read the introduction to Haggai and chapter 1, which tells how Haggai's message changed the people's direction. Plan 2. All of Haggai in 2 days. Day 1, day 2. Now we just read introduction now. And let us read chapter 1. Because they said plan 1 is an overview of Haggai in 1 day. Let us